Hey! Hey! Mad thing. Yeah, we got him. Bow, we got him, mate. You know what I'm saying? We've got the player now. And we're going to go for the title. Obviously, the haters will be hating and whatnot. The rival fans will be chatting smack. Oh, you spent 105 million. I've looked at it closely, though. So I can start with Liverpool. Liverpool claim they've never spent that kind of money on a single player. What I will say is, I've looked at their top 10, like their 10 most expensive signings, and I've looked at ours, and there's hardly anything in between it. Even if you include the fact that this summer, our signings, Kai Havertz, who was 65 million, and Declan Rice, who was 105 million, go straight into being our top 3 signings in our history. With Pepe being number 2, that was 72 million. Whereas, if you compare it with Liverpool's, who's just literally, I feel like their signings go under the radar. The amount of money that they spend on players go under the radar. They spent 60 million on Dominic Szoboszlai from Leipzig. That's gone under the radar, the fact that they spent that much on that player this summer. Also, the signing of Naby Keita from the same club was about 45, 50 million, something like that. Darwin Núñez, 85 million. What, is no one going to say nothing about that? Obviously, Van Dijk and Alisson have worked out well. But if you actually go through every single player that they've spent big money on, I think the 10th will be about 43 million. Don't forget also Mo Salah, who obviously was a bargain, was about 45 million. Fabinho was around that 40, 45 million as well. Whereas our 10th most expensive signing was 40 million. I think that was Granit Xhaka. So I mean, what are you saying, Liverpool? You're acting like you don't spend money. But at the end of the day, the way I see it is, it's not really about the value, because it's about getting the player in the club. Fuck the value. If the player does what he needs to do at the club, that's the main thing. We've got the player. We've essentially bought him out of the contract he was in at West Ham, which he had 2 years remaining in. And I just find it double standards, because everyone knows that if Man City came in for him or Chelsea came in for him, no one will be chatting rubbish about money or whatever value, this and that. But because Arsenal have done it, because we're not renowned for spending that kind of money on an individual player, the haters are talking smack. And if you look at it, it's like, the way I see it is, we're in the middle of all these rival clubs who wanna start being nosy at what we're doing. The Chelsea fans, the Tottenham fans, the Man City fans, the Man United fans, the Liverpool fans, they're worrying about us. Worry about your own club. You see us as a threat. But don't worry, that's fine. That's fine. You keep watching what we're doing. We're focused on ourselves. We're focused on our objectives this season, which is to win that Premier League title. And as Declan Rice said, he is trying to get this club back to where it belongs, which is at the summit of the English Football League. We are trying to win the league. And I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think we're finished with our signings. And also, don't forget, we haven't just signed Rice. We've signed Jurrien Timber. We've signed Kai Havertz. And I'm sure we're going to sign at least 1 or 2 more players of top quality that can come into the side and enhance that first team, just as I'm sure Rice, Timber and Havertz will do. Gives us a lot of strength and depth, because Timber and Havertz aren't necessarily guaranteed starters, but boy, if they come into the side, we're definitely not weaker. So anyway, that aside, I want to react to Jurrien Timber's interview with the club. So let's see what I can dissect with what he says. I'm obviously understanding that he's been a fan of the club from when he was young, due to his brother's love for the club as well. But yeah, let's go. Bow.
Welcome to the land of the seekers.
Let's go.
A place with a lifestyle that
Welcome to the Arsenal, Jurrien. How excited are you to be joining the club?
Really excited, especially now I'm here. Everyone is so nice and yeah, it's so big and you can see it's a big club, so I'm really excited.
What was your first reaction when you knew the club were interested in you?
Obviously, Arsenal is a big club, so my first reaction was a happy reaction. I remember my agent calling me. At first I couldn't believe it, but I was really happy.
We've seen
One thing I've noticed with these like kind of signings of the last few years, the players that we're signing seem really genuinely happy to play for this football club. And I'm talking like Havertz, like every picture I see, he seems smiling, he seems like he's beaming with joy. The same thing I see with Timber, who said he's a lifelong Arsenal fan. You could even see from his smiling, you could see it's genuine. You can see it's not just a chore. So when you're signing of a player that generally wants to play for the club, that's generally a supporter, that's come through the youth system, it's someone that you can trust to give their all, that it's not just a job, that it's generally something that they're passionate about. So yeah, that's a really good sign. The same with Gabriel Jesus last season, who just really seemed like he was going to give his all for the team.
the video of you as a teenager at Ajax, saying that your ambition one day was to play for Arsenal.
I think it was because of my brothers. They always were an Arsenal fan, and I just loved seeing Arsenal play. They had big players, the way they play, the style. I just love the club. And
see, that's one thing that we're gonna have over a lot of clubs, is that golden era of Arsenal from, like, let's say the early 2000s, just before Mourinho came in, Wenger's Invincibles, that 02 to kind of 05 period, where we were literally one of the best teams in Europe. We got to the Champions League final, we won a few league titles, we went unbeaten, we were just playing football out of this world. And I feel like the generations that were young then, that are now in their 30s and 40s, will kind of pass down that information of how we were good from then. And obviously people like Timber, so obviously Timber's brothers and that have made it clear in no uncertain terms that Arsenal are a big boy club, you get me? So people need to remember that we still remain the biggest club in London by a country mile. So let that be known to any Chelsea fans that think football started 20 years ago, that they were a mid-table, also-ran club, and they're back to where they were before by being 14th last season. So don't forget, Chelsea, know your level, innit? Because we're coming back to the real Arsenal, which is winning titles, winning FA Cups, competing in the Champions League, something that I feel like we're going to be dark horses in. I don't think any of the top sides want to play Arsenal this season. And I'm just like kind of sitting back and anticipating what players we're going to add to this squad that is becoming better and better by the day.
yeah, I had it from a young age, but my brothers kind of put it in me.
And Arsenal and Ajax have a long history, a tradition of buying players from Ajax. Obviously Dennis Bergkamp, but also Canu, Thomas Vermaelen. What does it mean to you to follow in the footsteps of those players?
There are a couple of players, but there are not a lot. So I think it's special to be here as an Ajax player, and it's special that they notice you and they see me as the player I am, and I think it says a lot about me and about the club. That
It'll be interesting to see if Timber starts though, because I thought he was a right back, but it turns out he's a centre back that can play right back, which is exactly what Ben White is. So that begs the question: what is the plan with him? Is it that he comes in to take Ben White's place, or is it he kind of comes in and feels his way into the team and or is it that he's cover for people like Saliba and Gabriel? So obviously, when you're taking one of them out, you put in a Timber and you don't really lose much quality. That is really something that I'm going to be intrigued to see how it all works out, because Ben White, Saliba and Timber, it's going to be two from them three that start each week, as in that's a kind of bona fide starting player. I personally think that he potentially will play as a right back and he'll come in for Ben White, but I could be wrong. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes.
The relationship between Ajax and Arsenal.
We know that you're comfortable as a right-sided defender or central defender, but what do you feel is your best position? What's your strength?
Yeah, for me it doesn't really matter. I think that I'm lucky to say that I can play as a central defender, as a right fullback, sometimes even on the midfield. So
I find it quite telling. Obviously, he was going to say, oh yeah, I don't mind playing wherever, I'll play wherever for the team. That's just a bog standard media trained answer. But I find it quite telling that he mentioned he can play as a centre-back, as a right-back, and also as a defensive midfielder. So he's kind of put it in the pecking order of where he feels is his best position. And that's also coupled with the fact that if you look at where he's played for Ajax, it's been predominantly in the centre-back position where he's kind of drifting towards the right, bringing the ball out, kind of with his passing being pinpoint accurate, with his dribbling being good as well. So he's essentially saying he's a right-back first. Sorry, he's essentially saying he's a centre-back first and foremost that can also do a job in those other said positions, which is interesting. So that, just as I was saying a minute ago, if we know Saliba's the first choice right centre-back, we know Saliba plays. Therefore, what's the plans with Timber? Is it to put him as a right-back, or is it to put him as predominantly as cover for Saliba, where we suffered last season when Saliba got injured? That is something, like I said already, I'm really intrigued in finding out what we do with Timber in that aspect.
I think that's a good thing. I need to keep that.
And have you spoken to Mikel Arteta about that, about what he sees as your role in the team?
Yeah, and he says the same thing. So we're on the same page. But I spoke to him a couple of times before I came here, obviously, and we had some good conversations.
Do you know much about the current team? Did you watch much for last season, for example?
I watched a lot of games, obviously, because Arsenal were doing...
You know, whenever they say, do you know much about the current team and you know the player they're going to mention is Saka. Sooner or later, they're going to mention Saka in this interview, I guarantee you. And that's a good thing, because I think they're the same age as well.
Good, and they're a fun team to watch. They have great players in the team, so I can't wait to see what they can do in real life. One
of the players that you might know a bit about is Bukayo Saka, because you played against him, didn't you, in the under-17 European Championships in 2018?
I played against him, yeah, that was a semi-final, I think. I think he was a left fullback, so it was kind of 2 against 1 for me with the left wing and Saka. I had a tough game that night.
But you came out on top eventually on penalties.
Yeah, we came out on top. True. We had a really tough game. I think if you watch the summary of that game, you can see Saka running the whole time. So it was a good game.
Imagine you had to play against Saka now, and imagine you was a left back now. That would be peak.
So we now be looking forward to being on the same team as him.
The same team, yeah.
And in that championships, you scored penalties in the shootouts, and you scored in the final. Is this something we can expect to see from you?
I scored 3 times actually, in the semi-final, quarter-final, and the final.
So what would you say are your main strengths, your main qualities as a player?
I just like the way Arsenal plays. It's a bit similar as to Ajax style, and I like to play from the back. I'm quick. That's the way I like to play, and I want to show it here as well.
So do you have a message for all the Arsenal supporters who are excited to see you in action?
I'm also excited to play for this beautiful club, and I can't wait to start and to see the fans obviously in the stadium.
Yes, loving that, bruv, loving that. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. He seems really passionate and just really ready just to get started, and I love that. And I can't wait for next week when we unleash these boys against MLS and against that team that I don't really like. You know, that team that play in red, that think they're bad. You know that team that on the 22nd of July. Yeah, I don't even want to mention their name on this podcast still, but yeah, I can't wait till that game. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no such thing as a friendly against them, and you get me, Man United. Yeah, I would be so disappointed if we don't win that game. I'm looking to really damage them. I want to win. I don't want to draw. I don't want to lose. I want to win against Man United. I don't even care about what happens against that MLS team. I just want to beat Man United. All right, I'm going to play the Declan Rice interview to see, just to get his take on his well-documented move, which has finally been announced today. I'm sure every fan's feeling as buzzing as I am, and I can't wait till he gets started, really. All right, let's go. Declan Rice. Yeah, man. That's it. Keep loading. Make me look like a dickhead, bruv. You know what I'm saying? Keep loading. Make me look like a dickhead saying I'm going to play an interview and not play, bruv. Great timing. Fabulous stuff. Right. Yeah, you know that one's technical difficulties when you're live. All of that. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. You know what I mean? Come on, Deckers. What we saying, mate? What we saying? But yeah, man, it's good to have him in. It's good to have him in the club. It's been a long-winded transfer, but I think as soon as we saw that salty West Ham tweet saying Declan Rice we can now confirm that Declan Rice has now left the club. Yeah, obviously, if he's left West Ham, then he's obviously joined Arsenal, but that wasn't confirmed until literally a couple hours ago, or so maybe 2-3 hours ago. But anyway, the main thing is, it's been all done and dusted. Nobody's going to care about the kind of delays in the transfer and whatnot. The main thing is, we've signed the player. Everything's all done and dusted. We're ready to go. So, literally, I think he comes straight into the team. The only question is where he plays. Because we don't know whether Thomas Partey is going to play.
It was our first time in Kyoto. We stayed in the room.
We don't know whether Thomas Partey is going to play, or we're going to sign someone else. That's the main kind of question. But I'm sure in due course we'll find out. Anyway, the interview wants to run, so I had to waffle for a bit to fill the gaps while it buffered. Anyway, let's go.
Takashi's home. We wanted to go to a nice sushi restaurant. Takashi was like, I can teach you.
That's where the sushi party started.
What? Lobster?
Come on, man. You want to buffer again? You want to start buffering again? Is that what you want to do? You gonna...
Declan, at last we can say welcome to the Arsenal. How does it feel to finally be a Gunner?
First of all, I just want to say a massive thank you to the Arsenal fans for the support so far. It's been overwhelming, really. Obviously, there's been a lot going on, a lot of speculation for months. But obviously, as a player, you want to get things dealt with as quick as possible, so you're settled. And today I've had my first day, so I'm feeling really at home.
As you say, it's been a busy time, let's say, the last few weeks, but what's it been like for you? How have you been feeling?
It's been a bit overwhelming, obviously, because of my relationship with West Ham and the love and support I have for them. It's been really hard to walk away. But in football, amazing opportunities arise. Big clubs like Arsenal, have come for me, and it's really hard to turn down. You only ever get one career, and I really believe in what Michel's building here, what the squad is building.
This is what I thought. I initially thought that I did make a video on Declan Rice earlier on in the summer. And I did anticipate the fact that he would want to come to the club based on the fact that if you look at the trajectory of the club and the players in the last 2 or 3 years, it's been onwards and upwards. And he would look at himself and think, okay, I fit in there. If I can come into there with him there, bruv, I'm going to enhance this club and it's going to work in my favour and the club's favour. And he can think that he can come in and actually impact the team, improve the team, because he will come in a position where we needed improvements. Anyway, he's at the perfect age to grow with the club, to grow with himself, the manager to improve him, and just to get him at a level where he can become world class, because I feel like he's coupled with a couple other players, are like just below world class. The people like Saka, Odegaard himself, Partey. I feel like we've got a whole team of players that are literally just below world class, and I feel like one great season like this one, I hope to have, we just need that little final push. People like Saliba, we've got a great spine now. If you look at it, Ramsdale, Saliba, Rice, Saka, you know what I mean? People like that, Odegaard, that is a top quality spine that I feel like we're stood in good stead to do something real special, and he's obviously seen that, and that's why I felt like there was a strong chance of him choosing us over Man City, because if he joined Man City with Rodri there, with Foden there, with Grealish there, I feel like he may well slot into that side, but is it going to be the same as him being the kind of main protagonist in bringing Arsenal back to where we belong? I did also mention in the said video, that if he does well at Arsenal, we're talking a potential statue here, mate. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially if he brings something like the Champions League or the league back to us, and he's like a mainstay in a team and a leader. Definitely, we're talking potential statue if he's here for 7, 8, 9 years and produces exceptional performances. So that's why I was always confident that we could get him, and yeah, it proved to be the case.
And I'm really now looking forward to the future with Arsenal.
Yeah, it's a huge decision for you, a big moment in your career, but what were the factors that convinced you that this was the right move for you?
I think I've been looking at Arsenal over the last couple of seasons and the trajectory that they've been going on. Not last season, the season before they finished 5th, but you could see the style of play Michel was implying. And then last season, obviously, outstanding season, blew every team out of the water pretty much. I think
we blew every team out of the water with the exception of the team that won the league, who beat us twice. Like I keep saying this in many videos, that has to stop. You can't give your main rival 6 points, because if you look at it, we lost the league by 5 points and we lost 6 points to them. So I mean, we play them in a couple of weeks' time. So hopefully, I know they don't start the season well, but I mean, I would like to put up a real good fight against them. If we can get all our players in, we can get up and running in pre-season, get our fitness up, get some wins on the board. I feel like that will give us the confidence to really go at them and try and win the game, try and win our first trophy of the season.
With Michel, how he works, the squad, how young everyone is, the energy now around the club, and also the challenge, the challenge of now getting Arsenal back to where they belong. That means a lot to me.
So yeah, he basically literally just said what I just mentioned, almost word for word. The fact that the challenge of getting Arsenal back to where we belong, which is at the top, is a better challenge and a more kind of challenging challenge, if you like, than just joining Man City and just being there really and not really standing out. And that's what I'm saying. And Declan Rice strikes me as a person. He's a people's person. He's for the people. He's ready to fight. And I feel like we do need to fight if we want to win the league, whereas Man City, they're kind of expected to win it every season. So I feel like we just need to give ourselves the best chance possible to put ourselves in the best possible position to be able to really go toe-to-toe with them, and this time not fall short. Because I think that we have a good start to the season. So if we can get up on a roll, a good start, a good 5-6, a good...
How excited are you to be working with Mikel Arteta?
Oh, I'm so excited. I think he speaks for himself. You see how he works. You kind of got a real insight into how he works on the Amazon stuff and how he works with his players, and not only as a coach psychologically, how good he is with players, how he improves players. I think he's a massive factor in the reason why I've come here. And also I know he's going to get the best out of me. I know I've now got more levels to go up in my game, and I feel like he's the manager to take me to them next levels. So I'm really excited to be working with him.
You spent 9 years, of course, at West Ham and played against Arsenal many times. What was your view of the club from the outside?
I think even growing up, the history of Arsenal, you always hear about the Invincibles, the famous game at Anfield. You see these things all the time. I've always known Arsenal's a big club, but just where I've been on holiday, people coming up to me in London, you know, you don't realise how big actually Arsenal is. But now I do.
Declan Rice, hey, are you mad? Rice, come on.
But playing against them, it's
I
always
can't
been
wait
tough.
to vibe with Kelechi and demand them like fucking outside AFTV, outside the stadium, bruv. It's gonna be a madness. Like, obviously, if he plays well, that'll be good. That would be a good starting point for him to, because you know he's gonna play that tune after the game, innit? So it's just gonna be vibes. I'm sure Odi Modu Black's Spotify is going off right now because Rice is trending, innit? So obviously, as a result, the algorithm of the tune's gonna be doing a madness right now. Good on him though, innit?
The Arsene Wenger way of playing nice football, tiki-taka stuff, coming to the Emirates has always been really hard. Home games, you know, when I've played for West Ham, have been, you know, games that you've been up for because it's been a London rivalry. But one thing about Arsenal is that the fans are so passionate and they're not scared to voice their opinion, and rightly so, you know, because this is a massive club they demand, and us as players, we should demand that of each other to now push and to be successful again. I think they're the main things.
And you know some of the players already, of course, from England duty especially. How excited are you to be in the dressing room with them on a day-to-day basis now?
Yeah, it's going to be an honour. Obviously, some unbelievable players that I've played with at international level, and now get to share them same duties on a club level. You know, all of them have spoke so highly about the club, how well each and every one of them have improved under the manager. And you know, when you hear things like that, you know, you really take it in your stride and really listen, because when you've got players like Sachs, who's now one of the best wingers in the world, Rama's best keepers. You know, you've got Whitey at right back, who was unreal last year as well. Smith Rowe, you know, there's so many in the squad, and they all speak so glowingly of the club and the direction it's been going in the last few years. So, yeah, it's really exciting. I played with Eddie from, you know, under 9s until 14s. You know, we were both released on the same day.
Yo, bruv, I saw yesterday, where did I see? No, it must have been today. I see, like, Declan Rice said Eddie Nketiah's mum brought the fattest bowl of jollof rice for the whole squad when the two of them used to play for Chelsea, bruv. So that's going back 10 years, though. That's real, like, heritage, you know, them ones there, bruv, for going back. But I feel they had a bust up on the pitch, I think, last season. But now I'm sure it's all love right now, innit? You get me? We're all going to be pushing in the same direction just to get Arsenal back to where we belong, like I keep saying. So I'm so happy. I can't wait for the season to start and us to just, you know what I mean, start winning football matches again. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's crazy where football takes you. You know, your journey. He's made it through the ranks at Arsenal. You know, I made it through the ranks at West Ham, and now here to join this great club, and you know, we get to link back up again. You know, I've always loved Eddie, even though we had that little altercation on the pitch before. You know, I've always loved him. I've always been really close to his family. His dad's a top guy, and he used to come on all the tours with us as kids. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to seeing Eddie again, and of course seeing all the boys.
And you've met a few people today, been shown around the club. First impressions?
It's beautiful. It's
blood!
An
Hey, yo,
ground.
bruv, Declan Rice's brother looks exactly like him. Like, identical. It's crazy, bruv. Literally, they look exactly the same, almost the same haircut. But yeah, anyway, who cares?
First impressions?
It's beautiful. It's an amazing training ground.
Yeah, I know that training ground inside out, like the back of my hand. How, they ask? How does he know the training ground inside out, like the back of his hand? He must be capping, they say.
You see it in photos. You see people talk about it. You know, you walk around, you see the history on the wall of Arsenal, and it just makes you hungry. Really, it makes you hungry to push, to demand more of yourself. And what I like about the place is you can feel ready. You know, you can't be comfortable here. You know, you have to push yourself to the max. And speaking to the sports scientists guys, the physios, the demands they have as well. You know, it's all about winning and all about, you know, mentality, which is what I love.
So next stop is America and pre-season tour.
Yeah, blood! I'm beating Man United.
To meet our supporters out in America?
Yeah, I think it's another great chance to see a fan base who are in America. You know, I remember before when Wilshire was with us, he'd come to China and he had like his own fan base, which were all Arsenal fans. It was crazy. So they're all around the world. a great chance for us to travel and, you know, spend some time with them as well, and also perform in front of them. I think we've got three great fixtures, 3 great stadiums. So, you know, embrace it. You know, pre-season's only come around once a year, so it's time to enjoy, you know, get fit and start winning.
Yeah, I think someone said the other day that, like, as pre-season goes on, the fixtures get tougher, and that's a good point, because obviously we started off with Watford, then we went to play Nuremberg, who are League 2 German side. Next up, we're going to play the MLS All-Stars. Then we have the real tough games in Man United, Barcelona, and obviously we end it with Man City in a Community Shield. So I feel like those games will kind of demand a certain level from us, and obviously, hopefully, our fitness and the players we play in those games will increase, and hopefully we can win every single game.
James. And Arsenal supporters around the world will be celebrating this news today. Have you got a message for them?
Yeah, look, I just wanted to say it's an absolute privilege to be a part of Arsenal Football Club. You know, the history, the players that have played here, you know, speaks for itself. And now, you know, I've joined. We have some other signings as well. You know, we're looking to get Arsenal back to the big time, back to winning stuff. I think you've seen that over the last few years, how well this squad has been with the manager, and you know, there's a real feel-good factor around the place. So I'm hungry, I'm ready. I'm going to give everything for this club like I do week in, week out. And yeah, we're going to be on some journey, so I'm looking forward to it.
Come on. Sounds promising. Sounds really promising. He's obviously a guy I've seen improve every season. I remember when he first came into the West Ham side. When was that? That was probably about 6 years ago, I think, when David Moyes was first there, and he was playing as a centre back. And I bumped into someone that grew up with him in an estate in Kingston, and they always used to say, "Oh yeah, Dec was he was always the baller. He used to play as a centre back, as a midfielder. His brothers are really close to him. I think one of his brothers is actually an Arsenal fan, but." Yeah, and apparently he goes back to the estate from time to time as well. So that was quite interesting. That was only about a month ago. So, and that same individual was teasing me. He was like, "Oh, he's gonna go City. He's gonna go City." I wish I could see his face right now though. He was a Chelsea fan, innit? That tells you all you need to know. But it's good that we signed Timber and Rice. Havertz had a quiet game the other day, but he's another good signing. What's important is that we can settle down now. We can focus on trimming the squad, getting the players that need to go out of the club, and bringing in another 1 or 2. And then I think, we're going to be really ready to be in the best possible position to challenge Man City and bring our 14th league title to the Emirates. Thank you, man. Rice, baby. We out. We out, man.